welcome to the Sterling Heights Public Library. My name is Brent, and today we have a super simple holiday project. We're going to make a cheese ball. Commando. So, small ingredient list today. We're going to use a brick of cream cheese, about 4 ounces of blue cheese. We're going to need some smoked almonds, or any kind of nuts. We're going to need some crackers, a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, and some garlic powder. So today we're going to be using a stand mixer. I don't think we've used one of these yet. So the first thing, we got our cream cheese here. This has been softened. Basically, that means it's been set out on the countertop for about an hour. So it'll blend better that way. And there's always a little bit left on the foil in there, so you can just scrape that off. One thing you might not be able to see from this angle is the attachment I've got in here. I've got the mixing paddle. You don't have to use a stand mixer for this. You might be able to get it to work with a hand mixer, or if you really want to work at it a little bit, a wooden spoon and a bowl will work, but this is easier and quicker. So we're going to go ahead and put that crumbled blue cheese right in. Doesn't have to be crumbled. You could use a chunk. That would work just fine. We're going to have about a 1/4 teaspoon of that garlic powder. Put that right in. And about 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire. And set this thing up and turn it on low for a minute. You might not be able to hear me very well once this thing's going, so we'll see how it comes along and go from there. Okay, so it's starting to come together. We're going to boost the speed a little bit. What you're really looking for is everything to come together nice. So I can drop that bowl down a little bit and just scrape it down, make sure everything's coming together. Yep, that's looking pretty good. So there's any number of different cheeses you can use for this, and all kinds of different combinations you can use as far as seasonings go. We're going to go pretty simple on this one today, but you know what? I am going to throw in a handful of dried cranberries just to make this a little more interesting. You don't have to do this, but it's probably about a 1/4 cup. I'm just going to go ahead and blend those right in. Make sure you get your spatula out of there before you do that. And that's really about all it takes. So I'm going to take a minute and get this out of here. We're going to form it up, and I'll show you how to roll it in nuts. So I've scraped the paddle off and scraped down the bowl, and I've got a layer of plastic wrap here. That's going to help us form this. We're just going to take that whole thing right out of there. It's pretty soft at the moment. So we'll get that set in there and just kind of use the plastic to form it into a ball. And then what we're going to need to do is we need to chill this for a while. Just kind of take that top and twist it a little bit. Get a rough ball formed here. And before we can roll this in nuts, we're going to need to cool this for probably about an hour until it stiffens up. So while that cheese is firming up a little bit, we've got about a 1/2 cup of these smoked almonds. You can use any kind of nuts you're happy with. I happen to like these for this particular one. Now there's 2 ways you can do this. You can either chop them the traditional way, or you can use the flat of your knife and crush them. That works too. So one of the advantages of crushing them is they don't shoot all over your kitchen, but you can chop them as well. You don't need a super fine chop on these. Just kind of want to get all the whole nuts broken up into smaller pieces. You still want to have some crunch in there. Now I mentioned that you can use other cheeses than blue. Sharp cheddar works really well. Goat cheese would work good. You could use feta. A smoked Swiss would be really good. You just want something that's got some flavor to it, because the cream cheese is where you're going to get your creamy texture from. And whatever kind of cheese you're using is where you're going to be getting most of your flavor from. Combinations that would work really well, cheddar with some, maybe a tablespoon of horseradish in there, or a little dry mustard. Those would work really well. You can use bacon bits. We threw a few dried cranberries in this. You can always use a little bit of dried fruit. You just want to be careful with how much stuff you put in here, because the more things you put in, the more you have to account for when you're forming the ball up. And if you got too much stuff and not enough of the cream cheese binder, it won't really form into a nice, usable ball. So these things here are just about chopped up right. And once that cheese firms up, we'll show you how to coat the outside of the ball, and we'll go from there. So the cheese ball's been cooling in the fridge for about an hour, and I unwrapped it part way, not all the way. It did look like it was maybe a little light on the number of nuts I had, so I did add a few more. Got a total of about 3/4 of a cup of nuts in here now. And we're just going to roll it in those chopped nuts and pack them in. Just press down lightly just to get it coated good. We may wind up with a few more than we need, but that's okay, because there's all kinds of things you can use those for. We're just going to go ahead and make sure that's all coated nice. Okay, so when you're ready to serve this, you're just going to put it on a plate. Get yourself a sleeve of crackers, whatever your favorite crackers are. You can just lay these things in kind of like this. And you get them going around there. Just kind of shingle them a little bit. You get all the way around. You just tuck the last under the first. And to serve, basically you just take a cracker, get a knife, pop it right on there, and you're good to go. Now, I am going to include a couple ideas when I put the recipe out for some variations on this, but holiday cheese ball. Really super easy to make, doesn't take very many ingredients, and I've never met anybody that doesn't like these things. Give it a try. Pretty good stuff.